Well, as your correspondent rightly mentioned, Iran said that if an oil embargo is imposed against Iran and the Iranian livelihood, its economy is threatened, then Iran would take considerable measures to respond to that. So that is not a provocation. But in terms of real provocation, I think that what is provocative is the United States sending its warships thousands of miles away from its homeland into the Persian Gulf, and also waging wars surrounding Iran, with wars in Iraq, in Afghanistan, military bases all around Iran. That is provocative, and Iran is trying to defend its national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Well, of course it could. We can remember in 1988 when there was a war between Iran and Iraq. Saddam Hussein invaded Iran with the help of United States and other Western countries. The United States, it's a similar kind of warship, shot down Iranian passenger flight over Iran's territorial waters and killed all its passengers, who were all civilians, and said that it mistook the Iranian Airbus for F-14 Tomcat fighters. So we can see that if tensions escalate, these mismanagements and further threats can also escalate, and we can find ourselves in a very bad situation. In addition to everything that your correspondent said about the rising oil prices and the very dire economic situation globally, not just in the US or in Europe at the moment. Well, now we see that we are seeing some unprecedented aggressive measures coming from the West against Iran. For example, the sanction against Iran's central bank, or these threats of imposing an oil embargo against Iran, which according to many world politicians, including some American politicians, for example, the presidential candidate Ron Paul said that this is an act of war in itself. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that this is a violation of international law and is a tool for regime change. So we see that there is a further escalation of threats coming from the West, especially from the US against Iran. And if these threats escalate even further, which seems to be like that, well, Iran's actions will follow as well, reactions to this threat. Well, of course, all sides should realize that what we are in now is a lose-lose, completely lose-lose situation. Everybody is going to lose from this, except for some military-industrial complex in the West. But if there is a diplomatic solution, we have a very good nuclear deal between Iran, Turkey, and Brazil, which based on which Iran sends its most of its low-enriched uranium for nuclear fuel rods, which Iran really needs for its Tehran research reactor. For diagnosis of complicated diseases like cancer for more than 800,000 patients. So that deal could be revived, although President Obama first supported it in April 2010 in his letters to leaders of Brazil and Turkey, and then backtrack in the Security Council and impose more sanctions on Iran. So there should not be more confrontation. There should be participation. And one more thing that I want to mention is that wherever the United States has intervened in the region, it has always brought death and destruction. Now, maybe it's a chance that the United States comes and facilitates negotiations with Iran and cooperate in Iran's nuclear program. Thank you.